I'm not gonna lie to you, my sales guys fought it. My sales manager fought it only because they felt that they were going to become obsolete, that they were going to be competing against AI. And now at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're slacking. They're hitting me up on Slack saying, "Okay, when are you launching the leads? When are you launching the leads?" Because now they're looking at it totally different. It was when I look at the time versus the return, it was definitely worth it. And I've been down that rabbit hole, like you talk about, where I've bought the new bells and whistles and new software, and it has a lot of promises, or there's so much. Um, I would say by the time you implement it, you're burnt out. This was very quick to implement it, and you're seeing incremental stages. The more I can honestly tell you, the more effort I put into WooSender, the returns were almost immediate. If I add a campaign, or if I send a campaign live, or I add another loop, within 20 minutes I see returns. So we are reaching out to small business owners that are getting sued by other businesses. So it could be for somebody as big as American Express, or as small as Joe's roofing supply store, and average debt is about $100,000. So we're not dealing with peanuts. So it's some serious money, and we have been cold calling these guys for the last 3 years. And I started out with another company that was been around for 30 years, and they've been doing everything old school with pencils and papers. And I came on board, and when I started working for them, I was just using, I started with a CRM, and I used Closio, and I was just power dialing these guys, and I was doing email drips and SMS drips, but with no real success, because it was a one-man show. And then when I went off on my own and we started this, I did the same model. I had my guys cold call, and I would say 97% of our sales came in over cold call, but I couldn't scale the business because there's only so many people that I could hire in my local area that want to make 200 calls a day regularly. So I was at Christmas, and I was at COVID. I'm in quarantine. I see an ad on Facebook to book more business meetings with AI. And I started having this conversation with your AI, thinking it was a human. And I said, "Oh, it must be a Jewish kid that's working on Christmas. Who the hell's working on Christmas?" And make a long story short, I signed up, and I had another project that I was working on for about 6 months. My sales manager and a couple of sales guys were trying to play around with it. And then in the middle to the end of December, I think last week of December was when I started diving into saying, "Hey, there's so much more potential that we're not touching." And I just started using it I'd say even now I'm using it about 75% of its capacity. And we turned 97% cold calling to 30% cold calling and success rate. And it's only been really one full week of doing this on its own. So now I'm looking at, when I look at scaling, now there's a lot more feet on the runway that I can go with this. Going from 20 guys to 200 guys, I could easily see, because now we can start looking at lead sources um, that don't need that wasn't profitable with cold calling, but could be way more profitable with AI playing around and getting these guys involved. An average sales guy, like a cold caller, he'll make 100 calls before lunch, and he's lucky if he has one conversation. Now, when I launch the leads at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll have 4 or 5 calls booked, for the same guy by noontime. I get responses right away. It's the guys that are coming there, the guys that are booking the appointments are a lot more open. I even go back to old leads that we've tried cold calling and tried using other systems as far as email drips. And next thing you know, they are booking a call. I've even had guys where they ghosted one of my reps that were cold calling, now start booking a call with an avatar. So the way we're set up, we set up an avatar like an assistant for all of our reps, and saying, "Hey, this is Lisa from First Choice." Meanwhile, it's AI that's booking all the reps appointments. And it's really been, I would say a 5X response versus cold calling alone. The training has been above and beyond, as well as these support calls. I would say the support calls have really helped me think of new ideas and look at this whole concept of conversational marketing so much differently.